Hello guys, I have a Sunday upload for you guys. It's going to be from a viewer that has sent in a story. I also have two other possible uh, viewer stories. One, it will possibly be a podcast. One viewer is having such a hard time telling her story that every time she starts to write it, she actually breaks down and is unable to even write it. She is going to get it wrote, and we're going to have some pictures to kind of show you what she witnessed. This creature spoke to her, and it was so bad that she has actually left her home place. She has a beautiful place, and she's unable to stay there. She's only been there like 3 times in the last 3 years since this happened. The other encounter is a lady that is still having encounters up to this point, and she was actually sought by a small TV series, and some other investigators have actually spoke to her and visited her residence, and she has remarkable photos and evidence that I'll be sharing with you all whenever we get that one done. But tonight I've got a lot of questions, mostly in my emails. One was from James and Tina and Mary, asking if Sarah's going to be investigating anymore, if she's still on the channel. As far as I know right now, she's took a break. When she'll be back, I don't know. That's going to be up to her. So y'all can reach out to her on the channel and ask her. She, I think, reads and watches it. If she does, she should be able to answer you there. And we're going to get on to the story. It says, hello Stephen, my name is Charles Hamill. I am writing in relation to my encounter. Stephen, I have sent many encounters to the other media sources, only to try and reach as many people as I can to bring awareness as to how easy it is for these creatures to sneak right up behind someone in broad daylight without them even being detected. Stephen, after reading my encounter, if you decide that it is not in your best interest to narrate again, I will understand, my friend. He's just trying to get some information out to you guys. He feels it's really important that this gets out to you guys. This happened at the Fork River, Oklahoma. He says, before I knew that there was even a club of no return. He says, my name is Charles, and you can use my name if you wish. I have nothing to hide or to be ashamed of, and I'm too damn old to be worried about what some non-believers might have on their petty minds. Now just a little about myself. I am a Native American and German heritage, precisely Cherokee and Choctaw, with a small amount of Irish, Scottish, and Bohemian thrown into the mix. I've always had a love for the outdoors, whether it be camping, hunting, fishing, or hiking. That is until this canine creature took it all away from me. I excelled in the Boy Scouts of America, football, baseball, track, worked as an oil field well service operator in the Texas oil field for 25 years. And when I went to work for the United States Postal Service and retired in 2017 after 23 years of service. He says, and so it begins. In 1974, the day that I found out there was a club of no return, and that there were giant creatures known as Bigfoot. My encounter happened in 1974. I was 21 years old. For 47 years, I never told anyone about this encounter until now. I'm still dealing with PTSD. This is my encounter. I needed some downtime away from my oilfield job, so I planned a vacation to Beavers Bend State Park. It's in southeast Oklahoma. During the first week of March 1974, my pregnant wife of 6 months and I had planned to tent camp on the Mountain Fork River below the dam on Broken Bow Lake for 4 days. That's a pretty area down there. I rented the farthest south tent site, which was only about 40 yards from the cement dam on the river. This made the upper portion deeper for swimming, better kayaking, and fishing. We had just beautiful weather, with the lows in the low to mid 50s and the highs in the mid 60s to 70 degrees. The first 2 days were just terrific. Terrific. I like how I said that. Terrific. We had fresh fish for breakfast and dinner both days. On the morning of the third day, I got up at 5 o'clock a.m., made a pot of coffee. I had 2 cups, and when I grabbed my tackle box and rod, reel, and a 5-gallon bucket to put my catch in, then I walked down to the dam where I had fished the previous 2 days. This morning, there were about an 8-mile-an-hour wind blowing in my face from the southeast. The sun was just starting to rise when I made the first cast into the inline single spinner 1-ounce lure called a shyster, white with black dots and a white horsehair skirt over the barbless treble hook. As I made my next cast, the lure hung up behind me on what I thought was a tree limb, so I turned, looking up to where the lure had caught the limb. But all I could see was a wall of cinnamon brown hair, about 5 foot from me. My lure had hung up on the upper left chest of something that I didn't know existed. It was at least 11 foot tall, 5 foot wide across the shoulders, and somewhere between 1,100 to 1,200 pounds. Its biceps were as big as my waist. I had a 32-inch waist at the time. My eyes moved up to its face. It had a conical shaped head. The eyes were as big as Coke cans and red. It was looking down at me and snarling. Its teeth were as big as a horse's teeth, and I had only slightly pronounced eye teeth. Its head looked to be at least 2.5 times the size of mine. I could not move. I could hear and I could feel a very low growl that seemed to rattle my bones with the pressure all over my body that I can't explain. At this moment, I truly believed that my life was over, Stephen. I couldn't speak or scream, but I remember thinking, oh my God, I am so sorry for hurting you. Then, like turning off a light switch, everything went black. I passed out. I believe that was about 6:30 a.m. when I woke up. My watch read 7 o'clock a.m. I felt like it had been drained in all my energy, and I had a terrible headache. I sat up, shaking uncontrollably, looking around, and I saw that in my tackle box had been smashed flat. My rod was broken into 4 pieces, and 3 fish that I had caught were taken out of the 5-gallon bucket. After regaining my composure, I saw a set of footprints where the damn thing had been standing. I had a measuring tape on me, so I measured both prints. They were 22.5 long by 10 inches across. The ball of the foot, 7 inches across the heel. I'll tell you right now, I had never seen a footprint so huge. I was still shaking uncontrollably, and I had just got the hell away from there. So I picked up all of my crushed and broken fishing equipment and carried it to the trash bin where I disposed of it. I walked back to camp, poured myself another cup of coffee, and waited for my wife to get up. After she got up and exited the tent, I poured her a cup of coffee. She asked how I was fishing this morning. She asked me how fishing was this morning. I explained to her that during the night, someone had came into camp and stole all of my fishing gear. Man, was she pissed. But that was a lot better than trying to explain to her what I had actually seen and what had actually transpired down at the river. At this point, I was feeling so very lucky to still be alive and breathing. I had one more cup of coffee and then told her that I wasn't feeling quite up to par and that I just was ready to go home. You know, I can't help but believe that that damn creature had been watching me catch fish and just wanted my fish. To this day, I still can't believe how that SOB snuck up on me. Since that day, I've given away my fishing gear. Only within the last couple of years have I had an interest in finding out more about what it was that took my love of the outdoors. You know, back then I didn't know about PTSD, but I'm pretty sure that's what I was experiencing. Then came the night terrors, at least once, and something twice a night. My screaming, kicking, and punching would wake everyone and everything in the house. That creature would be creeping up on me from behind while a spider crawl position, and then just sit then. I would turn and see him. At that point, he just bounced to his feet, grabbed me by the shoulders, and picked me up, looking me eye to eye. He was snarling, and he started opening that huge mouth. At this point, I would awake and be covered in sweat and hyperventilating. I had these night terrors every night, or every other night, for at least a year. After that, it became more sporadic for the next 46 years. Now it seems to only happen about once a month, thank God. He had a really traumatic experience. It actually ruined his love for the outdoors. He gave up hunting and fishing, camping, things that he loved. He had a lot of money invested in doing this stuff. And he decided that he wasn't going to do this anymore, and he quit. He's just now even thinking about even doing it again. When you have an experience like that, and whenever I have my experience like that, it causes you to rethink things. You don't take for granted going outside playing anymore. As a kid, we didn't take for granted running outside and running into hog houses and playing like we did, because you always wondered, was it hiding in there? Was it watching you? At a game of hide and go seek one time, whenever I was playing hide and go seek with my cousins, it was knelt down behind the barn, and I thought it was my cousin. And I'm standing there and I'm looking. I've done a video on this a little bit. I'm looking toward the front yard. I'm all the way in the backyard in the dark, hiding behind the tool shed. And while I'm hiding there, I see this. My cousin lifted weights. He was really big, and I see this big thing down on the ground, like hunkered, and I'm hiding. And I'm like, man, they're not going to find us here. It's a good place to hide, right? And in a weird voice, like how a dog talks, like you see on TV, on them commercials or whatever, where they try to get the dog to say, like, I love you or something. It was like that, and it said, I like to hide here. You all never see me here. I ran so hard, man. So hard to the front yard. I remember my heart was just pounding. I ran in the house, and that game was over. And, of course, I made all the kids come in when I told them what had happened. Man, these things will play amongst you. I don't know if it was playing with us that night, if it was stalking us that night, watching us that night. But it was definitely out there with us, hiding with us. So, these things are, to me, they're sinister. I don't trust them at all. The whole time they were down at my granny's, they wouldn't really mess with the chickens and the pigs and stuff like that. Never really had any messing. Maybe a chicken every now and then, but they didn't really mess with the livestock, so they wasn't there for the feed. But in particular, there was a few times when they tried to get to a family member, and they tried to take a small little girl that is my cousin, and luckily she was smart and had been taught what to do and ran screaming to her mom. They're very sinister, and they will build their guts up, and I believe they will act on you eventually, if not immediately, eventually. And that's just what I tell people. Be extra careful. I mean, it's just my opinion. I could be wrong, and I may be proven wrong eventually, but I would rather be wrong and a kid be okay than be right and then a kid be able to visit with one. I just don't take precautions. People don't take precautions the way they should with them. I think people are too trusting of them. Again, that's just my opinion. And I'm not advocating going out and hunting them down and killing them either. They're an animal, and I don't think we should go out and hunt lions down and kill them either, just because they'll kill you if you run across them. I mean, if you're out there and you're hunting them and one kills you, it's kind of like lion hunting. It can go either way. But at your house, it's different. You have a right to protect your yard, your castle, and that's just how I feel about it. And your family, mostly your family comes first wherever you're at. So I just want to thank you all for listening, guys, for a Sunday upload. I haven't done the YouTube live yet. I'm still working on doing that. Whenever I do, it'll probably just be a sporadic thing where I just log on at first, and then after I get it figured out, I will put out a notice to let you all know when we're going to do an actual one. The few of you that do catch me, I will answer questions that day and try it out and see how everything works. I appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all take care. God bless, and keep your head on a swivel.